Haley, a couple of tough results over the past couple of weeks. How have the squad recovered, and is it safe to say this is maybe a must-win game if you all want to push for promotion?
Well, ultimately we win the game, we're definitely not in the playoffs, and if we lose the game, we're definitely not out of the playoffs, but it makes it a lot harder, obviously. There were a couple of tough games. I don't think a couple of tough results. I think we played well in both games and had aspects of the game where we could have maybe shaded either Morton or the Partick game wasn't to be. So we've taken a couple of points from teams that are in and around us. And it leads us to a third tough game in a row. Queen's Park are rightly so up there. The league doesn't lie. A good team, good footballing team, good coaching staff. So it all bodes well for a wonderful, wonderful fixture under the lights and on television on Friday night.
Yeah, what do you make of Queen's Park's season so far? It's been pretty well. They're sitting second right now, but there's only 6 points in it when you look at it like that.
No, there is only 6 points in it. So again, if we get the win tomorrow, it cuts that right down. Obviously, with 2 games to go, so anything can happen between now and then. I think mathematically, there is still a bizarre chance that we could win the league, and there's still a chance that we could finish 7th. It's that tight. That's the way the league is. Morton have creeped up, but obviously Inverness and Partick are really strong form-wise at the moment. And I said at the beginning of the year that if you finish above Dundee, in my opinion, you would potentially win the league, and that's the way it's looking like it could pan out. But there's a few twists and turns in the last 3 games of the season, that's for sure.
What sort of mentality do you need from your players like that? You just mentioned there that it's mathematically possible to win the league. Do you say that to your players? Is there or how important is it to get that really strong sense of belief of what you can achieve?
We went through a period of talking like that, and then we switched tack and just basically focus on the next game. And that's all we're going to. Not want to focus on anything, the next one or the last one. It's just all about Queen's Park, and then we'll worry about whatever happens after that, and we'll readjust what we need to do and what our aims are for the last 2 games after the Queen's Park game.
I think anyone who's at the game at Partick would say in the second half you dominated. Just looking at the stats, and I know you're not a great stats man, you always can come back about, we don't listen to stats all the time, but possession, shots on target, everything, it really boosted up. That's the kind of mentality you would have to have in the games that you're coming up with, and whatever you said at half-time really worked.
Well, I think every single game in this league especially, there's going to be spells where the opposition have more of the ball than you, or maybe in a bit of control for 5, 10, 15, and on Saturday it was like 25 minutes really. But the most important thing is that you stay in the game. We lost a goal, and at that point they were sort of dominating play and everything. If you lose a second stroke third goal, then the game's done and dusted, so you've got to stay in the game. So we've got to keep that at 1-0, and eventually, slowly but surely, you try and get a foothold in the game, and that's how it transpired. And as you say, in the second half, we really did get a foothold, and we, territory-wise, we were probably in their half a heck of a lot more than they were in our half. We tested their goalkeeper a heck of a lot more than we tested our goalkeeper, and then as the game opens up, you're able to bring substitutes on that can give you a little sprinkle of magic, which happened with Chrissy and Jaden, and gave us that lift to get the goal back. It was just unfortunate we couldn't find a way to get a winner.
And Partick up to then, the last few results that they've had have been exceptional, and if you can take on board, or if the team takes on board how they could do against a team that's playing that well, surely that really bodes well for Friday night.
Yeah, that was the message after the game. They've sort of laid down a marker in relation to playing against probably the form team, other than, I'm sure Inverness will query that, but Inverness and Partick are probably the 2 informed teams in the league. To go up there and put on a really strong performance from our point of view, it's got to give the boys a lift, got to give them belief in relation to the targets we're trying to get to this season. So, but they've set their standards in that second half, and it's up to them to continue them on, hopefully tomorrow night, and as I say, what will be a very, very tough fixture.
There's a lot of stuff coming out from United media which is all about get to this match, support the team. Now, you've been so filled with praise with us, supporting not at this time. This is the time for them to really stand up and be counted, because you've got to climb up again. Aye,
it's a call to arms, 100%. It's a call to arms for everybody that's of a black and white persuasion down this way. Stick with the boys. You've been with us all the way through the season. You've seen a few lows, but a heck of a lot more highs, and we're just hoping there's 3 more highs to get us over the line and potentially into the playoffs. But the more they're there, the merrier. Get right behind the boys, make that noise, get that Somerset Road end rocking, and hopefully the boys can produce and get the result that you guys deserve.
I know this press conference today, you're hearing your own, we're focusing on this game, it's very big, but can I draw you away from that for a minute and just say, I was talking to Sean yesterday about the Academy's amazing awards, what was it, the Grassroots Award from UEFA, Silver.
Yep.
That is something about what United are building now.
100%, and to get recognised from the governing body in Europe is phenomenal. And getting that silver medal just behind Olympique Marseille is second to none, and it just proves the quality of staff that are employed by the football club and the work that these guys put into what they're doing in and around the community with the academy. It's just absolutely phenomenal, and the amount of thinking, by the way, it's growing. It's not stagnating, it's growing with a new chairman and Graham driving it with the help of the staff, as I say, Davy White and all these guys, and then amongst the staff from all the way through the community levels. It's a massive fillip for the club to be involved in that side of things and even get mentioned in that, because obviously they got the award from the SFA. The SFA nominated Ayr United as their representative this year, and UEFA have acknowledged the fact that the amount of work that goes on and the help that it does in the community is absolutely second to none. And that's another reason this club at the moment really is building a heck of a new story on and off the park, and that is, I think, it's the type of story that makes it worthwhile for the chairman, that type of thing. So congratulations to everybody that's involved, and I'm proud to be part of Ayr United Football Club, and we've got this kind of staff and these kind of things going on in the background.
Now, you're not so much the new boy anymore here, you've been for quite a while, but way back at the beginning when we first interviewed you, you talked about the fan base and also the community stuff that was going on, and you thought it was a good standard and it attracted you here. How far further on are we now?
Well, it's come on leaps and bounds. I think I regularly speak with meetings with Graham Matthew every week, and he's one that the chairman brought in to try and drive certain things off the park in relation to all aspects of the football club. But sometimes he has to rein himself in. We think we've way running before we're walking. There's so much we're asking of the staff that have not really been used to being asked to do so many things and drive it forward. And we've got to be careful we don't burn people out, because his ideas are just going through the roof. As I say, it's driven by Graham, but it's impossible to do if you don't have the staff in place with a hunger to drive on all these new projects and new ideas and link-ups with Ayr Rugby and everything. That I was down there last Friday night, and I sat with the coach during the game to see how he deals with his on-pitch decisions, things like that. These type of links that we're trying to create throughout the local community is second to none. But sometimes you've got to take a breath, you've got to step back, you've got to slow down a little bit and say, hang on a minute, that's where we were, we've suddenly gone to there. Instead of going bump, 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 this is off the park. But even on the park, we've sort of taken a massive leap from where we were as well. And obviously the big thing that happened at the end of the season in relation to the new stand being built the other side. So yeah, sometimes you have to slow down a bit.
Yeah, you're talking about all the progression that's going on off the park, and that obviously can translate to, and looking to where we were last year when I even first started coming here, there was a battle against relegation. Now we're talking about, promotion and playoff spots. That really does show how far the team, the squad, the club has come in the past year.
Yeah, I think it was all about creating belief in the group of players in relation to the level they are at in the league. I think they proved it the second half of last season. I think our form was 5th in the league. So they proved they could be a sort of middle to top end, top half team with the right additions, and then we could push on. And that's proved to be right this year, and we've deservedly been up there challenging. But ultimately, the experience of one or two other teams is they're finishing stronger. Obviously, your Partics and your Thistles have had the same sort of group of players over the last 3, 4, 5 years that have been through it, seen it, done it. Where our group of players have sort of been maybe bouncing between the league below and this league and sort of always battling relegation. So to majority of our group, this is a new environment, battling at the top of the league. But no matter what happens this season, they will be in a much better headspace in relation to the experience they get this year and pushing on for next season, whether it be, amazingly, if it was in the league above or whether we're still in this league. that group of players will come on a ton as well, because last year they were 22, 23-year-old, this year they're 23, 24, next year they're 24, 25. They're all sort of, the majority of them are coming into their prime, with one or two of the other clubs have got lads that are now sort of 30s, 31s, and our boys are starting to pick up. So I think we're in a good place.
Yeah, with tomorrow night's game as well, though, because of the magnitude of it, will you be looking towards your senior players to really set an example and pull the team and sort of encourage them?
This is where your senior players are worth their weight in gold, whether they're in the stand, on the bench or on the park. The experiences they've been through and what's given them the longevity in their own singular careers is the reason they were brought to the football club to try and help us out, because the majority of the boys are between 19 and 23-year-old. But that sprinkling of senior players are a massive benefit to any football club. So yes, we're trying to lean on these guys. I'm hoping that they can be leaders on the park. As soon as they cross that white line, it's virtually over to them. Yes, we can dictate things with specific tactical changes or formation changes or substitutions, but other than that, the general driving of the game is by the boys on the park. And more often than not, your senior players become your coaches on the park. So yeah, big role for these guys to fill. And I've got to be honest with you, since I've came in the door, they've been absolutely magnificent.
So they always the question, what's the fitness like for Friday?
Yeah, we've got one player who started last week's going to be out, unfortunately, but it's good news, and Jordan Houston's been back in full training this week, and looking bright on Josh Mullen. He's been back running this week. He had an x-ray, I think it was Tuesday, got the all clear to start running again, and he should be in full training from next Tuesday. This game will be a bit early for him, but next Tuesday he'll be champing at the bit to get involved in the Wraith game.